Alright, guys, so I want to talk today about the difference between dating a Filipino girl and a Japanese girl. This is gonna be, I don't like to overgeneralize, but to some extent, I do have to, find commonalities, right? So, I'm not really too into dating culture. Like, I just like to be alone in general, but yeah, I know it's kind of like a big thing in the Philippines, so uh, you know, I just thought I'd enjoy it because it's kind of like a college presentation. And Yeah, feel free to disagree. Actually, I like having like conversations and stuff in the comments. Okay, so so I'm gonna first talk about like the religion because it's kind of like backbone of someone's belief system and traditions. So in Japan, the main religion is Shintoism. This is before Buddhism was brought over, and it's kind of like the worship of nature and there in Shintoism they believe that there's like God residing in nature and stuff, and it's kind of like you don't practice it, but it's built into the practice, right? So that's why Japanese women you know they make sure all the spaces are clean, clean the floor, because in Shintoism, dirty place brings like bad energy and stuff. And even with objects, we value objects. We don't take it lightly. And when we throw away objects, it's kind of like you know, I was personally taught to like thank the object. For example, if you're gonna throw away a hat, you at least thank it for, and then throw it out. Um, and that's where the Japanese culture of I think being organized and just maintaining cleanliness came from, I think. And in Philippines, a lot of Filipinos are raised in Catholic or Christian upbringing, and they celebrate a lot of the same holiday as Americans. So, yep. Now I'm gonna talk about some of the expectations of Filipina and a Japanese girl. In Japan, I noticed that women play their role. Like they expect the man to earn, and a lot of the men they give away their earnings to the wife, and then the wife invests the money to grow the money even further. And yeah, it, in the Philippines, to be honest, I don't really have that much knowledge, but I noticed that from my personal experience, they're kind of more relaxed about money. Like, even if I'm broke, they don't really care, you know, about the guy not having money. In my personal experience, and like in the U.S., I noticed that a lot of the Filipinos are very like they're very hard workers. And some of the women they send the money back home to their families and stuff. So yeah, Filipinos are very hard workers. And in terms of cheating, most of the time Japanese wives allow the men to cheat, provided that the guy doesn't love the girl, then it's okay to cheat. There's like even like prostitution places for businessmen to go to. But in the Philippines, cheating is like a no-no. Like Yeah, that's just one thing I noticed is it, Filipinos are very relaxed, but in general, but it's just one criteria that the man has to meet is to not cheat. And in terms of adjusting to the culture in Japan, if you're a foreigner, I think, yeah, to some extent you have to adjust to the culture. It's gonna be hard if you don't speak Japanese, or, there's a saying, the nail that stick out gets hammered. Usually it doesn't apply to foreigners, but yeah, just fitting in general might be important in Japanese culture, especially now with the with the new government. It's more even more conservative, so yeah, it might be difficult if you don't speak, or you're not able to write the language. But there some people like that. The culture is preserved, and it's not. Uh, it has its own like unique culture. Some people like that. I noticed that in the Philippines, the women are more compatible and they're willing to adjust to your culture, and to some extent, they've already adopted the Western culture. They're more familiar with the Western culture, even like throwing like American jokes and stuff. Like I don't think, yeah, Japanese woman would understand. Whereas in the Philippines, a lot of the Western jokes and stuff, the Filipinos would understand. In terms of affection, yeah, Filipinos are. I do notice they're very physically affectionate, and in Japan they show love in maybe different ways, like preparing dinner, cooking, make sure the bath is ready, and fulfilling the role as a woman. I don't know about now, but I mean, throughout generations, the expectations change as well. So I'm not sure. Um, in terms of like physical looks, I do notice in the Philippines, there's more wide variety because of migration and history. There's a lot of admixtures going on. Some might be morena, chinita, um, mestiza. There's a lot more admixtures compared to Japan. And even when I was on dating sites before, I do notice that a lot of the Filipinas were like, half Australian or half American, or you know the mix. Um, it's very mixed race is very common in the Philippines, whereas in Japan it's more like straight up East Asians, and yeah, it's just preference thing kind of thing. You know. On a lighter note, let's play pickleball. It's nice. It's nice here. It's good fun. I can't quite get the color.